You drove here today, or you took a bus, or a train, or at the absolute minimum, you walked from your bed to a chair and sat down. That's it. That's your body's workload for the day. Meanwhile, your body, this specific body you're in right now, was engineered to cross a continent on foot without stopping. Your species can outrun a horse over distance. There's literally a race in Wales that proves it. 22 miles of mountain terrain, and humans have beaten horses 5 times. You own the greatest endurance machine evolution has ever built, and you used it to walk to the fridge. But here's what's insane. You didn't stop walking because you got lazy. You stopped because 5,000 years ago, one of your ancestors did something profoundly stupid. They climbed onto an animal. And everything, your back pain, your knee problems, the fact that you pay $50 a month to walk on a machine that goes nowhere, all of it traces back to that one moment.
Look, your body is ridiculous. Not in a bad way. In a, this thing was overbuilt and nobody told you yet.
Your Achilles tendon is so much longer than a chimp's that your foot basically works like a pogo stick, bouncing energy back with every step instead of wasting it. A 2007 study, Sokol, Rachelin, and Potzer, proved that human walking burns 75% less energy than a chimpanzee walking the same distance. 75%.
Your body sweats, which sounds gross, but it's the single most important adaptation in your survival history. Because most animals can't. They pant, they overheat, they stop. You don't. Harvard biologist Daniel Lieberman has spent decades arguing that early humans chased animals to death, literally jogging after them in the midday heat until they collapsed from exhaustion because they couldn't sweat, and you could. You were a persistence predator, the Terminator of the savannah. You weren't fast, you were inevitable. So how did you end up sitting in a Hyundai?
Here's the thing. The first humans who figured out animal transport didn't look at a horse and think, I should ride that. They thought, I should drink that.
Whew. In northern Kazakhstan, around 3700 BCE, the bowtie culture kept horses. And when I say kept, I mean they were obsessed. Over 90% of all animal bones at their sites are horse. Alan Outram at the University of Exeter analyzed their pottery and found residue of mare's milk fats inside. They were milking horses thousands of years before anyone sat on one.
But even before that, before horses entered the picture at all, there was a less glamorous hero, the donkey. Northeast Africa, the Sahara is drying out. Pastoralists need to move water, move households, move everything. So they domesticate the African wild ass and turn it into the world's first engine. At Abydos, Egypt, around 3000 BCE, archaeologists found donkeys buried in pharaonic tombs, royal graves for donkeys. That's how important they were. When they examined the bones, crushed spines, worn joints, these animals were worked until they literally bent. The horse gets all the credit, but the donkey did the job first, and nobody gave him a TED Talk.
So when did someone actually sit on a horse? We know because their skeletons told on. In 2023, Martin Trautman and his team at the University of Helsinki examined over 200 ancient skeletons from across southeastern Europe and identified something they called horse rider syndrome.
6 markers. Hip sockets warped into ovals from straddling an animal every day, ridges on thigh bones that don't exist in people who walk, compressed vertebrae from the constant impact, fractures from falls. 5 skeletons from the Yamnaya culture, Bronze Age herders living on the Pontic-Caspian steppe around 3000 BCE, lit up on 4 or more criteria. Riding was so physically brutal that it reshaped the human skeleton. Your hip sockets aren't supposed to be oval. Theirs were. Their bodies kept the receipts. And what these riders did next rewrote the DNA of an entire continent. But here's the part that messes with everything I just told you. Those riders, the Yamnaya, the first confirmed horseback riders in human history, probably didn't start on horses. Beat one. Hold. In 2021, Ludovic Orlando sequenced hundreds of ancient horse genomes, and he found something that made every archaeologist rethink the timeline. The modern domestic horse lineage, the one every living horse on Earth descends from, didn't become widespread until around 2200 BCE. That's 800 years after the Yamnaya expansion started, which means the greatest migration in human prehistory, the one that replaced Europe's gene pool, the the one that spread the ancestor of English, Spanish, Hindi, and Farsi, was probably powered by ox carts, not galloping horsemen. Ox carts, bumping across the steppe at walking speed. The riders who changed the world started as passengers. The horse was a software update, and it took 800 years to download.
Okay, quick detour. I need something from you. Check your phone right now. Health app, step count. What's your daily average? Drop it in the comments, because I checked mine, and I'm not saying the number. Made me want to apologize to my ancestors personally. Let's see where we all land. I have a theory about what happened to us. Here's what the horse actually did once it showed up. The Yamnaya went everywhere, westward into Hungary, eastward toward Mongolia. Within a few centuries, they blanketed half of Eurasia. David Reich at Harvard, the guy who basically invented ancient DNA research, showed that steppe ancestry didn't just appear in Europe. It dominated, replaced entire populations.
And here's the part that breaks my brain. For the next 4,500 years, from those first riders to the invention of the railroad, horseback was the fastest a human being could move, period. Full stop. Every empire, every trade route, every war, every language boundary in the ancient world was shaped by one question. How far can this animal run before sundown?
Horse riding used to be the internet of the ancient world. It connected everything. It moved information, genetics, and culture across continents. Now it's a $200 an hour birthday party activity. And this is where it starts being about you.
You were built to outrun a horse. Now you drive one. If this is the kind of thing your brain needed today, you already know what to do.
For millions of years, walking was everything. It was how you hunted, how you migrated, how you found food, water, mates, safety. Your body became the most efficient overland machine in the animal kingdom. Sweat-cooled, spring-loaded, relentless. Then someone climbed onto a donkey, then a horse, then a carriage, then a train, then a car, then a desk chair.
Herman Ponzer at Duke has spent years studying the Hadza, one of the last hunter-gatherer groups on Earth. They walk over 15,000 steps a day. Some days, closer to 19,000.
You, about 4,000. Let that number sit. That's not a lifestyle difference. That's a species in early retirement. And that's why your back hurts, why your knees ache, why you feel restless after 8 hours in a chair and can't explain it. Your body isn't broken. It's just been parked for 5,000 years. Your body was designed to cross continents on foot. Instead, it's stuck in traffic, inside a machine that replaced the animal that replaced your legs, wondering why everything hurts.
You're not bad at moving. You're undertrained for the thing you were literally built to do. Tell me I'm wrong.